child growing up, free and wild, full of hopes and full of fears, full of laughter, full of tears, full of dreams to last the years in Seattle.
What the heck happened? How does a city's natural, good-natured quirkiness turn into chaos? Thanks for joining me. My name's Dave Miller. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy. That's the question we're going to try and address today. And we're going to begin with a story originally published July the 11th, 2017, then updated July 18th, 2017, by Christine Claridge, staff reporter for the Seattle Times. Headline: Judges complain it's unsafe, unsanitary outside King County Courthouse in Seattle. And the subhead: 2 judges said assaults on jurors and courthouse employees, combined with conditions including the stench of excrement and urine, are creating a frightening atmosphere around the courthouse at the 3rd and James in Seattle. 2 King County Superior Court judges are asking for help cleaning up the courthouse at 3rd Avenue and James Street after they say 2 jurors and half a dozen employees have been assaulted. The judges, Laura Inveen and Jim Rogers, acknowledged Tuesday that there are difficult underlying circumstances contributing to the unsanitary and potentially frightening atmosphere around the courthouse. They, along with King County Sheriff John Urquhart, also recognized that there are 2 elements at play: crime and the fear of crime, with the latter being just as likely to keep people away as the former. The nearby blocks host most of the city's homeless shelter beds and many of its social service outlets, which draw those who need help and the people who prey on them. That's nothing new, Rogers said. But for whatever reason, things have gotten worse over the past few years, and jurors and potential jurors report being afraid to go to the courthouse, the judges said. The judges said they have started hearing from jurors who want to do their civic jury duty at the county's Superior Courthouse in Kent because they don't want to come to the downtown courthouse. "I've never seen it this bad," Rogers said in a Tuesday morning presentation to the Metropolitan King County Council's Committee on Government Accountability and Oversight. Inveen told the committee about 2 incidents, one in late May and one in June, in which jurors were attacked in separate incidents outside the courthouse's 3rd Avenue entrance. One other occasion, Inveen said, employees have been spat upon, slammed against a wall, or punched. Although cleaning and patrolling the area immediately surrounding the courthouse would not address some of the deep-seated issues faced by denizens of the space, it would send a signal that somebody was paying attention, she said. She and Rogers asked the county to take immediate steps to clean up the courthouse with a daily power wash of the surrounding sidewalks, which reek of urine and excrement. They also asked that the county empty trash cans more frequently, remove bus stop benches, remove tents from the adjoining park, and increase the presence of law enforcement, not just to arrest people, but to deter crime. Another suggestion was closing the 3rd Avenue entrance and reopening the one on 4th. Seattle Police Captain Mike Teeter, commander of the West Precinct, said the police patrol the area heavily and that while there are certainly people in crisis or need who behave in ways that may make others uncomfortable, there is often no criminal activity involved. Statistically, Teeter said, a person is actually slightly less likely to be assaulted near the courthouse than in some other areas of the city. He also said the police are not able to address some of the things that may be intimidating to occasional visitors, such as seeing someone standing on the street corner and yelling. Though it makes people uncomfortable, he said, it's not a crime. Brian Wetzel, a Port Orchard resident who was passing through the neighborhood on his way to the airport, understood the concerns. He said the area seemed kind of seedy. But Renee Wingett, a permanent resident of the park, scoffed later Tuesday at the idea that the patch of land near the courthouse was any worse than anywhere else. The area may look a little rough at the edges, she said, but there's nothing to be afraid of out here. The people who are afraid probably just haven't experienced homelessness, but experience is a great teacher. Seattle resident Mary Hendrickson said she'd been homeless for a time and had no fear of the people who hang out near the courthouse. Compared to other gatherings, the folks at Muscatel Meadows, as the park is sometimes called, are actually a pretty docile group, Hendrickson said. Sometimes there will be yelling and drinking, she said, but they're not intimidating to me. All right, now, guys, if you haven't been slightly sickened by what you've heard so far, just wait. I'm going to continue. Some committee members expressed concern about addressing the symptoms of the area's problems without getting to the cause. Councilman Larry Gossett said he didn't like the idea of power washing the sidewalks because it brought back images of the use of hoses against civil rights activists. Another council member, Claudia Balducci, suggested that the county consider using social service employees in partnership with police. Erghart said he has a front row seat to the activities on 3rd from his office, and he agreed with the judges that it's gotten worse in recent years. He told the committee he could put 2 deputies outside the courthouse for 4 or 5 hours several days a week, and he cited an old saying. When you're up to your keister and alligators, it's not the time to drain the swamp, he said, urging the committee to respond immediately. While no official action was taken, the county's administrative officer, Caroline Wallen, and the facilities manager assured committee members that a stepped-up schedule of power washing and garbage cleanup would begin immediately. Though Inbean said she was not confident the issue would remain at the top of the county's priorities, she said she was pleased with the outcome for now. We need to do everything we can to make this courthouse welcoming to all, she said. And that's the story. So what do we have? An area that is, when you take out the politically correct language, plagued by violent bums that the city isn't doing very much about. The police trot out charts and graphs and say that even though there have been attacks at this location, it could be worse. And of course the bums themselves and their sympathizers say everything's great. But in the end, you have people not even wanting to go to a courthouse for fear of bodily injury, and a government official ridiculously comparing power washing possible disease-causing excrement off of a sidewalk to 1960s civil rights marches where hoses were turned on the demonstrators. This is when the good-natured quirkiness that I spoke of earlier becomes chaos. They're actually at a point now in Seattle where it is very difficult for them to run their own city because they're stumbling over their own feet due to political correctness. Now hey, no one likes a city with a personality more than I do. I've lived in several of our American cities, and a town with flavor always appeals to me. But there's a difference when that flavor isn't Tex-Mex, Creole, good old-fashioned Southern cooking, but it actually comes from the smell of urine and excrement. Seattle actually started out being one of those isolated towns way up there in the northwestern United States, and it grew up independent and kind of sassy to go along with it. Nothing wrong with any of that. As usually happens, though, the progressive left took a good thing and twisted it into something that no longer serves the people, but has actually made them prisoners of doctrines that say things like violent bums are not to be moved on, as Rudy Giuliani did in New York, but they're to be nurtured and tolerated. In practical terms, you know an area is bad when it is supposedly heavily patrolled by police, and people are still being slammed up against walls and being punched. Fact is that Seattle isn't the only city going through this, but there is a solution for them and for every other city that is having these issues. It's simply to clamp down on the criminal element. When Rudy Giuliani did that in New York City, New York didn't lose its flavor. That won't happen in other cities either. All it will do will be to communicate to the people that they are going to be protected, the tourists will start coming back in, and it will let the criminal element know that the party's over. So let's stay just a little bit charmingly nuts out there, people. Americans like that. But let's not create a thugocracy in the process of doing it. And now it's time for an Awesome American segment. You know, I like almost anything to do with football, and when that's combined with instilling badly needed values in our young people, that makes it even better. Here's a report updated February the 25th, 2017, from KKCO-TV, Channel 11, Grand Junction, Colorado.
Almost everyone that has played sports knows the values it teaches us: teamwork, perseverance, determination. However, one local youth football league is going the extra yard to establish these values for its kids. Here's a story.
It's not just about being competitive. It's being like everybody on the team and having other players to help you get better and better.
Hundreds of parents and kids filed in behind B&H Sporting Goods today, not for a sale on athletic gear, but to sign up for football.
We're just signing Deshaun up for the Junior Football League, and so he gets another year in.
The Mesa County Junior Football Association has been a Western Slope staple for over 40 years.
There's a real tight-knit community aspect to this. Every single year, people come in, they sign their kids up, and it just passes on generation to generation.
The league expects over 300 kids from ages 5 to 9 this year. Those like Rylan Mendenhall are excited to put on the pads for the first time.
I'm going to learn how to do all this stuff that I didn't usually know how to do at the start when I started learning how to play football.
On the other hand, parents like Shauna Logsden keep coming back.
It's just kind of a tradition to stay in the football league, and they do a good job. They help the kids, they teach them, they learn how to play football.
Not only do they teach kids the game, but they provide all the equipment as well.
We provide helmets, we provide shoulder pads, and we provide jerseys. We make sure they're in good working order, and we have plenty of them to make sure everybody's properly fitted.
But beyond the football and the gear, the values instilled in the kids make the Mesa County Junior Football Association a league of their own.
Not only do we coach football on the field, but we try and relay traits to them to carry it over in real life when they're out in the community away from the football field.
You know, I wasn't sure about doing this particular Awesome American segment because there are free sports programs like this all across the country. But it's nice to remind people once in a while that not only are volunteers and money needed for these organizations, but that awesome Americans like the Mesa County Junior Football Association are out there working year in and year out, providing examples of behavior, ethics, morals, and charity that give our young people a good head start in life. And that's it for this time. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye. The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2017. Anno Domini.